Recession, it's a scary word. Could you explain what the term technical recession actually means, please?
Love to, because when you get under the headlines, it's a bit more interesting. So gross domestic product, GDP, is a measure of the market value of all the final goods and services produced by a country. And it's measured quarterly in the UK. So you're quite right. In July, September, their GDP dropped by 0.1%. And in October to December, it dropped by 0.3%. But overall, over last year, the economy in the UK actually grew by 0.1%. So it's not all bad news. And what we're looking at there, particularly in the Christmas period, are things like the doctor's strike and hospitals not being able to see patients, fall in school attendance, and also with all the bad weather, the retail sales dropped in the UK. So we're expecting a bounce back there in the first quarter of this year. We're not looking at something that might be contagious coming over here. And actually, when you look at the Isle of Man economy, it's really quite resilient. When Moody's came over and did the credit rating last year, they said that we historically have got quite a resilient economy, particularly compared with other offshore centres and small countries. So I think we're in a better position here, but we know that times are tough for both businesses and normal residents.
And I think historically what we understand is that the Isle of Man tends to almost lag behind a little bit time-wise. So is there any potential, I think people want to know, of this term recession being applied over here at some point?
Well, you said the Office of National Statistics, the ONS, produce this data on a quarterly basis. They have almost 5,500 people working for them to crunch the numbers. We've got a handful, and we're hopefully going to get the latest data published next month on GDP. But what we do have on the economic dashboard on the government website are real-time trackers of a whole range of things, the amount of freight going backwards and forwards, and the footfall in the Douglas area. And what we've done is looked at that over December, and even with the bad weather we had with all the storms, it's actually been fairly stable. So I think we're in a better situation here than in the UK at the moment. But there are some pressures. We know about inflation. We know about cost of living increases. We know about skills shortages. And that's why the budget next week is really important to reset our economy, invest in our economy, and also have a sense of stability.
Because it's all very well, isn't it, thinking about the economy in terms of what you understand by the Treasury. We're thinking about the person on the street and how it actually impacts them. Does this news from the UK have any bearing on what you might tell us on Tuesday?
Not really, because what we're doing with the budget, we've been working on this for the last 6 months, is looking far more longer term in terms of investing in our economy, in terms of supporting people and businesses here going forward. But it is difficult. We know that there have been cost pressures, both in household budgets but also company budgets, and we need to support the local economy. But also we've seen some significant cost pressures in government, and we need to make sure that we can balance those without continually drawing down on reserves. Because one of the other problems that the UK faces is government borrowing, which obviously we do to a degree, but we need to keep strictly under control and rationalise it and prioritise the amount of money we spend as a government to make sure we get the right outcomes for the people of the Isle of Man.
Well, just finally, as we say, it is a scary word. It's a degree of uncertainty. What can you say, again, in layman's terms, to allay fears for residents and businesses on the island?
I think what the United Kingdom have seen is very much a product of the pressures that most countries have seen, and particularly on the Isle of Man with our relatively small economy. But from a government perspective, I think we're in a better position. We've got resilience there. There's far more consumer and business confidence, positive confidence here. And really the role of government is to create that right environment for people to thrive on the Isle of Man, and I hope that next week's budget can really show that investment in people.